In this video, I'm going to explain what 3-3 adjectives are and why on earth we call them this. To be honest, the name actually makes a lot of sense, but to understand it, let's take a step back for 1 minute and remind ourselves what adjectives are again. Adjectives are words that describe nouns: the brave girl, the sad dog, the difficult man, and so on. In English, they're fairly easy because they just go next to the noun that they're describing. In Latin, though, word order doesn't matter. What matters are endings. We use these to tell which noun the adjectives are describing. In Latin, adjectives have to match the noun they're describing in 3 ways: case, number, and gender. This is super important, so I'm going to leave it at the top corner while we keep going. There are 2 types of adjectives generally: 2-1-2 adjectives and 3-3 adjectives. The last lesson on my channel is about 2-1-2 adjectives, so if you missed that or need help with those, go and check it out. 3 adjectives are like fortis. Now in your dictionary you might just see it as fortis, or you might see it written like this: fortis, forte. This tells me it's a 3-3 adjective. Here's why. It tells me what form of adjective I should use for masculine or feminine nouns and for neuter nouns. Fortis is what you should use to describe a masculine noun or a feminine noun, a brave master or a brave woman. There's no difference for these adjectives between masculine and feminine nouns. They describe them both in the same way. Forte is for neuter nouns, so forte concilium, the brave plan. Now this is where we get slightly different from 2-1-2 adjectives, in that often the endings will not look like they match the thing that's being described. They will, it's just it won't be as easy to match up as laetus servus, for example, or laeta puella. For this, you really need to know the noun endings for the third declension nouns. If you can't remember them, go and download this free noun endings guide from the link in the description below. It will really help you. Remember that adjectives have to match in case, number, and gender, so our adjective has to change its ending depending on what role the noun it describes is playing. So, to make your adjective match a masculine noun, like puer, you follow the third declension masculine and feminine table of noun endings. Here's where it gets tricky. If fortis can describe masculine and feminine nouns, how do we know the boy is brave and not the girl? For this, I need to know how the endings change in the case it's in. So, if I have the brave boy sees the girl, I would use fortis puer. He is masculine, singular, and nominative, and so is fortis. But if I have the girl sees the brave boy, I would use fortem puerum. He is now accusative, so my adjective has to change too. This is how I know that the girl isn't the brave one. She's nominative in this sentence, so the adjective doesn't match her in all 3 of those things from the top: case, number, and gender. Here are the endings for the singular form of fortis. Keep an eye on the nominatives and accusatives in the masculine, feminine versus the neuter endings, because they're the ones that look very different. Also, note that the ablative singular does not end in E, as in the noun tables, but I, like the dative. And here are the plural endings. And again, the genitive, dative, and ablative are the same for either gender group, but the nominative, vocative, and accusative are different. Let's have a go at matching adjectives with their nouns. Here are some sentences. Which noun is being described by the adjective in bold in each sentence? Remember, word order doesn't matter in Latin. Pause the video if you want to have a go yourself, otherwise I'll go through this now. Fortes is a masculine or feminine nominative or accusative plural. I know the verb vidi means I saw, so I know that I am in charge. I am the nominative. That means that fortes can't be describing me because I'm not plural. So it has to be accusative, which matches amikos, a plural accusative with a masculine gender. I saw the brave friends. For number 2, fortes again here is a masculine or feminine ending, but in this instance it's a plural nominative. There's no other noun for it to describe. So it matches feminae. You women are brave today. Fortibus, for number 3, is a dative or ablative plural, and it could be in either gender group. So I need to look for a dative or ablative plural noun. Militibus is the only one, so now I know it describes the soldiers. The king is being protected by brave soldiers. In number 4, fortia is neuter, but it can't be nominative as the verb is being done by us, audivimus, and we are not neuter, so it must be accusative. It matches with concilia, an accusative plural neuter. We heard the brave plans. Forte, again, for number 5, could be several cases. However, I have the verb da, which is an imperative. Give the gift, which is donum. So I assume this sentence is telling someone to give the gift to someone else. Can I find a dative singular noun? Yes, puellae here is feminine, dative and singular. This is one of the options that matches forte, so I will put them together. Give the gift to the brave girl. Now you can't always just describe things as brave or our stories would get very boring. So here are some other 3-3 adjectives. There are some oddities in there which I will explain, but just familiarise yourself with these common adjectives. Now a couple of these look different. Celer, for example, acts as if the nominative started as celeris and the endings are attached to the whole word celer rather than taking anything off. Otherwise, it follows the same patterns. The other one to be aware of is ingens. Now here is the whole table for ingens. The main thing to be aware of is that the nominative, vocative and accusatives are the ones that are vary depending on gender. The others are exactly the same as fortis and those other adjectives on the list, but it's a really common one, so I thought I'd show you the whole table. So to sum up, a 3-3 adjective is just the name that we give to a group of adjectives that change to match their noun using the third declension endings for masculine and feminine nouns and third neuter endings for the neuter nouns. If you're struggling with these endings at all, go and download that free PDF from the link in the description below. And that's a quick overview of 3-3 adjectives. I hope it helped. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll see you next time on bambasbat.